So Dana White finally announced UFC 300, the main event. Alex Pereira and Jamahal Hill. He announced this after Ilia Topuria knocked out Alexander Volkanovski. I don't know what to feel about that. I feel like that was just the wrong time to do it. But he announced it right then and there, and we're going to get that as the main event of UFC 300. And people are now saying that UFC 300 is mid when we had announcement after announcement of mid throughout the entirety of, the UFC 300 run so far. Like all of the announcements for that Dana White has done for the past few months. And now you guys calling it mid? This is like the best fight on the entire card. And y'all calling it mid now. Listen, obviously it's not like a huge name in Jamahal Hill. Alex Pereira, I would say, is a pretty big name. Jamahal Hill is not like a huge name, but he was the former light heavyweight champion. Last year, he beat Glover Teixeira, and then he was out for a very long time due to an injury, and now he's finally back, and I'm very happy. I think this is a great matchup. I don't care what nobody says. This is a very intriguing matchup. What do you guys want other than this? I mean, I guess McGregor-Chandler, that wouldn't make any sense. There's other title fights on this card. I don't think they're just going to have this as the... Even though I understand Conor and Chandler is bigger than, like, the title fight. Like, literally, Yan Xiaonan and Zhang Weili. That... McGregor-Chandler is, like, 20 times bigger than that. But you're not going to have that as the main event. They would have probably announced this probably, like, in the beginning of December... Like, during December, or maybe the beginning of the year. But they never did that. They postponed it. And, yeah, I don't even know when the hell we're going to get McGregor-Chandler. Last night on Monday Night Raw, Michael Chandler went on the mic and called out Conor McGregor again, which was absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I believe it's on all over X, and I believe it's on YouTube as well. You guys go ahead and watch that. That was fantastic. But back to UFC 300. I don't like that people are now saying that it's mid when they literally add a fantastic fight to it. Listen, this fight card is not mid. It's just when we thought about UFC 300, we were like, this has got to be like one of the greatest cards of all time. And honestly, it's a fantastic card. Like on paper, it's an 8 out of 10. But UFC 300 standards is probably bumped down a few points due to the fact that, we got Rakic versus Yuri Prochazka. And yeah, we like Yuri Prochazka, but we want a better matchup for Yuri Prochazka. It was just a tale of not so interesting matchups. Like, yeah, do we know the names of some of these people? Absolutely, we do. But like Marina Rodriguez and, Jessica Andrade, we know who these people are, but like, do you care that this is on the fight card? Like, no, we didn't want that. Kayla Harrison and Holly Holm, you know what I mean? When we all always do a worldwide gasp or sigh when Holly Holm gets announced for any fight card. It doesn't even matter if it's for UFC 300. It's like for every other one. You know what I mean? Like UFC, they could have had this on UFC 299 and everybody be like, oh, you know what I mean? But anyway, this fight card is good. It's a very good fight card. For UFC 300 standards, it's not really there. I've talked about it extensively for many videos, and I talked about how UFC 300 is not living up to the expectation. It really wasn't. And to be honest, it didn't. But this main event is fantastic. I don't care what nobody says. This is an intriguing matchup. This is the matchup to make in the light heavyweight division. If you were going to do anything else with Alex Pereira, it was going to be him versus Israel Adesanya, but at the end of the day, does it really make a whole lot of sense? Not necessarily, just because Izzy just lost in the middleweight division. He needs to go ahead and probably redeem himself in that division before he even goes up in weight to 205 if I had Alex Pereira. I understand that Izzy just beat Pereira not even last year, and he knocked him out, but right now, I think the focus for Izzy was probably not Alex Pereira. He probably doesn't want to fight him anytime soon. He probably wants to go ahead and try and get his middleweight championship back. And we don't know when that's going to happen. I'm assuming it's going to happen in the summer. We're going to get Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. Even though that's the fight that doesn't make sense. But like, I think Izzy should be fighting somebody else, like another top contender in the division, like a Hamza Chimaev or somebody like that. But whatever, it doesn't fucking matter at this point. But that matchup between Pereira and Adesanya, yes, is it intriguing? Absolutely. Does it redeem UFC 300? Absolutely. But does it make more sense than Jamahal Hill versus Alex Pereira? Not really. Alex Pereira is the current light heavyweight champion. Jamahal Hill never lost his title. Like, he never lost to anybody after he beat Glover Teixeira. He was gone and had a huge absence for well over a year, and it's going to be like a year and a couple months since we last seen Jamahal Hill in a fight. This was the fight to make, and this is a great main event. I'm sorry. I don't care what nobody says. The fact that people are disappointed by this and people are shitting all over it. I saw Eric Hawani. He did like a podcast or something like that, and he like had these other co-hosts, and when he named the fight, like they were like their eyes were wide open when he said Alex Pereira, but then when they said Jamahal Hill, they were like disappointed. This fight is fantastic on paper. This is a great stylistic matchup. This is fantastic. This being on UFC 300 is not the problem. And this is not the problem. It's the fact that you have so many other fights that make no fucking sense. It's the fucking problem. Like, having Yuri Prochazka fight Alexander Rakic is the fucking problem. Having, like, Yan Zhao Nan and Zhang Weili in the co-main event is the fucking problem. That's the problem. Having Jessica Andrade and Holly Holm and Marina Rodriguez and Kayla Harrison on UFC 300 is the fucking problem. Having Bo Nickel fight a Can is the fucking problem. It is not Alex Pereira or Jamahal Hill that you should be blaming for this event being, I guess, underwhelming. Let's be honest. This fight card still, even then, fuck the UFC 300 moniker at this point. I don't give a fuck anymore. I've gave up on it. We should have probably gave up on it when they announced Yan Zhao Nan and Zhang Weili. Let's just be honest. But overall, as a card, this is a fantastic card. I don't care what nobody says. From the beginning, I mean, we're going to be getting the first fight of the night is going to be Cody Garbrandt and Deiveson Figueiredo. That is fantastic. And I understand that that's probably not a great stylistic matchup because, Cody Garbrandt just fought two, like, pretty much cans, and he beat both of them. Him going from this to Deiveson Figueiredo is probably too much of a step up in comp, and it's a little scary and I really have a bad feeling about Cody Garbrandt, in that fight. I'm picking, obviously, Deiveson Figueiredo to absolutely dominate and destroy Cody Garbrandt and probably knock him out. I mean, this is definitely supposed to be a slow build for Cody. You can definitely get him maybe a ranked guy, but not Deiveson Figueiredo. Hello? The one of the most powerful guys in the division? Are you kidding me? But still, I mean, listen. It's two well-known names that we know about, and that's a fantastic... Listen, I like the fight. But yeah, I don't understand. I think that this fight is fantastic. I think stylistically, Jamahal Hill and Alex Pereira is great. And it's really unpredictable. I can see it go either way. I can see Jamahal Hill put away Alex Pereira. But the same way, I can see Alex put away Jamahal. I can see both guys win this fight. And that is fantastic. We want competitive matchups. When we thought about UFC 300, obviously we want to see big names, but we want to see competitive matchups. And this is a competitive matchup and a great matchup, and I think this fight is going to deliver. This is a great matchup because we're going to see how Jamahal Hill does against a guy like did I say Jamahal Hill or Alex Pereira? We'll see how Jamahal Hill is going to be able to fend off against probably one of the best strikers in the UFC in Alex Pereira. And likewise because listen, Jamahal Hill is very, very skilled as a striker. He's very good, and he has a lot of power in his hands, and he can catch Pereira, and Pereira's chin is a little suspect. We're going to see if he's going to be able to, eat those shots, you know what I mean? Because eventually, Jamahal Hill's going to start to land, unless, Alex Pereira gets him out early, you know what I mean? He's going to eventually land, and let's see how Pereira does against that. Against a true light heavyweight in Jamahal Hill. This is a great matchup. Hopefully, Jamahal is going to be ready, because there's been a little bit of iffiness with him, whether or not he's healthy or not. But it seems like, listen, if this fight has been announced, I'm assuming that he will be ready by April to fight Alex Pereira, and I'm extremely excited for this matchup. Right now, if I had to give you an early prediction, a way too early prediction, I'm going Alex Pereira. but I'm not confident. I'm not super confident. Just like how I wasn't confident in my other 2 picks that I was by the way, I'm 0-2 in my main event pay-per-view picks, but that's the fucking point. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Hopefully I will be right by then. It's going to be a very good matchup, man. This is great. Very unpredictable. And the fact that people are now saying, like, oh, I'm not going to lie, UFC 300 is mid. And it took Alex Pereira versus Jamahal to be announced for people to say that is mid. Like, brother, we've been saying this shit forever. You know what I mean? But overall, I mean, UFC 300 is not mid. It's just, we had our expectations probably way too high. I mean, the way Dana White was talking about, listen, like, just wait until we announce the main event. It's going to be absolutely insane. Like, just wait till who we get for UFC 300, and then we're like, oh, Prochazka and Rakic, wow. But overall, great fight, and I don't care what nobody says. This is a fantastic main event because stylistically, it's a great fight. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I see you soon with another video. Peace out.